everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of Spoiled today. I am Enosh, aka Enosh Fett, and with me today...
I am Tiffanie, aka Grand Tiff Tarkin.
That's right, and so today is a very special episode because it is for a movie that we have looked forward to... Somebody's looked forward to for a very long time, and that, of course, is Batman versus Superman. Now, we wanted to wait a couple of days to kind of let this movie kind of sink in to the culture.
Yeah, let people get a chance to go and see it.
Yep, and we are not going to do a spoiler review today. We're just going to give our review. Probably in a few days, we'll do an actual spoiler review and tell you what we think of the actual things that happen in the movie.
This one's non-spoiler, so it's okay to watch.
So it's okay to watch. Don't worry. You will not have, even though the show's called Spoiled, this is a non-spoiler review, okay?
You're welcome.
You are welcome. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, first of all, before we get into the movie itself, this movie has really divided people as to what they think of the movie. I mean, I don't think that I have seen this much just anger and craziness and people talking the way that they are about this movie. I mean, people just are very opinionated about this film. Yeah, so
I'm not one of them. I have a certain way, but I think I'm partial.
And you know, I'm a big Superman fan. Obviously, I have been my entire life. It's the only thing that I actually have tattooed on me, as you can see. I named my son, his middle name is Jor-El, for a reason. And so it's been pretty hard for me as a Superman fan to kind of sit and listen to a lot of the things that were said. And as the reviews started coming in, it was interesting because there was a big clash. Because at first there were a lot of fans who had seen the movie, just regular people who had seen the movie. And those first few reviews or comments about the movie were very positive. They were just like, this is the one everyone's going to love. It's so great. It's so awesome. And then the next day, the reviewers, the critics,
and haters.
/ haters, had a chance to see the movie. And of course, they just have ripped it to shreds. I've heard people calling it just an awful movie, saying it was horrible. They couldn't follow the story. They didn't like the story. They didn't like where it went. They didn't like Superman. They didn't like Batman. They didn't like Wonder Woman. Well, well, I have to say, there's been more positive about Wonder Woman than probably anything. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, but they had to introduce her at some point, and she's getting her own standalone in the next coming years.
Yeah.
So,
you know, once those critics were able to share their opinion, all of a sudden there was just this gush of, it sucks, it's horrible, you know. I mean, but then I would think is interesting is that a lot of these critics would then say, we're not saying that to not go see it. And some of them were, some of them were. But then there were just a lot of people who jumped on that and just used that as an excuse then to say, oh, I'm not going to go watch this movie. It's going to suck. It's going to be horrible. Zack Snyder needs to go. He shouldn't be directing Justice League. Some people are saying it's worse than Man of Steel, or it's better than Man of Steel, but, you know, it's still bad. To which I say, hey, if you don't like Man of Steel, there is something wrong with you. I'm sorry, but if you can't follow a story like that, I've gotten to a point, I think, where I realize now that this world that we live in nowadays does not know what they want from Superman. They just don't. They don't.
They're fickle.
They're very fickle. They reject the idea of the classic Christopher Reeve Superman when it's convenient for them because it's cheesy and it's hokey and it's this, and they say
but for his time, that was awesome.
Those kind of negative things. But Christopher Reeve did an amazing job, and he was the Superman of that time. And then of course when they made Superman Returns and they tried to kind of bring a little bit of that back, man, Superman Returns was met with pretty critical review. There were a lot of critics who liked it, but then there was a lot of people who just talked about it. It's like, he's not doing anything in this movie. He's not saying anything. He's not beating any. He's emo Superman. He's not beating anybody up. And I agree with all that stuff. There was no action in that movie. So those were the complaints about that movie. And I remember reviewers saying to Superman Returns, you know, they needed to get past the Christopher Reeve Superman and do something new. So they did. And along comes Man of Steel.
Yep.
And Man of Steel was just such a great movie. I just, when people tell me they don't like Man of Steel, I just really don't understand. And trust me, please believe me. And I'm sorry if I came across negative at first, but please believe me. I mean no disrespect, but I honestly just don't understand how someone can say they didn't like Man of Steel. It was a new Superman for today. It showed a Superman who had issues, and it was logical. And that's the Superman that's actually been in the comics since like 1986.
And we got a taste of what Krypton looked like for like 20 minutes instead of saying, okay, here the planet's exploding, let's just send them off. We got to see a little bit of Krypton.
Yeah, and I mean, but that's the Superman that's been in the comics for years now, for a couple of decades, is this Superman who struggles with the fact that he's not perfect, that he can't save everyone, and whether or not he should, and whether or not he should reveal himself, and whether or not people always appreciate what he does, or, you know, should he be fighting this battle? Should he be doing the things that he's doing, and how he feels like an outcast because he is an alien, and so there's certain things that he couldn't do to fit in like everybody else could, and he has to, you know, do these things. And Clark has always been, for at least the last 30 some odd years, Clark has been the real person, and Superman has been the persona, you know, that's out in front of everybody. And so when people say they don't like Man of Steel, how? I don't get it. So this is obviously the sequel to Man of Steel, because this is the universe we have now. And I gotta say, Man of Steel was the Superman movie, as a Superman fan, that I had always wanted to see.
Henry Cavill is the epitome of Superman.
Yes.
He has muscles, not just adding a muscle suit.
Yes.
He has the look. He has the swagger of Superman. He's got the Clark Kent down, and he's got, you know, Superman.
Henry Cavill, I've got a huge man crush. Applause for Henry Cavill.
I have a woman crush.
And I'm okay with that. She's my wife, Henry. All right. So here's the deal. So here's coming, you know, Batman versus Superman, and we went into this movie. I went into this movie very much so, like, not knowing anything ahead of time. Yep. You know, obviously we knew from the trailers, and surprise, surprise, Wonder Woman is in it. Yep. We knew that Doomsday was in it from the trailer. Sorry if you feel that that's a spoiler, but if it's
been in all the trailers.
If it's in the trailer, then everybody can see. I don't consider it a spoiler. We knew. Now, I'll be honest with you. There were a lot of choices about this movie that at first...
You were concerned about Lex.
At first I was concerned a little bit about Batman. I was concerned about... what's his name playing Batman?
Ben Affleck?
Ben Affleck. There he is. But I was concerned about Ben playing Batman, because obviously Ben's been in some things that you know, it hasn't been that great.
Well, people were also tearing him down for being Daredevil, but I thought he actually did a great job for that era of playing Deadpool. But this is just
Daredevil.
Yeah, I'm sorry, wrong.
That's okay.
Wrong.
That's
Superstar. Right. But it was just one of those things that I've seen him in some of the darker roles, and I figured if you can take a little bit of that Daredevil and make it, you know, darker and brooding, and I think he did a phenomenal job for the Batman that he has for this age.
Yeah, so I you know, that idea of Ben Affleck being Batman, it gained my respect. I saw Argo and some other things that he's done recently, and I gotta say, the guy has improved over the last 10 years. I mean, if you don't think that the guy's improved since he did Daredevil, I don't know. I don't understand you. We need to have a side conversation or something. But so I warmed up to him. The one that really threw me off, and I'll be honest with you, Thursday night when we went in to see the movie, I was sure I was going to be annoyed.
You were sitting there like this, watching him, like waiting for him to screw up.
And that's Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. I was convinced that it was going to be awful. He's just going to play it like a Zuckerberg kind of loosey-goosey kind of remake kind of thing, and I thought I was going to hate it. Now let's get into the actual of what we thought of the movie. Your first opinion of the movie, just overall, what did you think of the movie, Tiff?
I thought it was phenomenal.
Thought it was phenomenal?
Yes.
Okay. I'll be honest with you, I thought it was amazing. It was everything that I could have wanted from Batman and Superman being in the same movie together. I thought it hit all the right beats. I thought the story... Now let's talk about the story.
I haven't loved Alfred.
Yeah, Alfred was great. I mean, how can you go wrong?
Love Jeremy Irons.
How can you go wrong with Jeremy Irons? So let's talk about the story first of all, because I've heard a lot of complaints from people about, oh, the story's convoluted, it doesn't make any sense. The reasoning for Lex wanting to fight Superman or getting Batman and Superman to fight is stupid. It's not fleshed out, it's not well thought out, and the reason why Batman wants to fight Superman doesn't make any sense.
Which again shows that they don't know what they want.
Exactly. Well, and so it's a continuance of the Man of Steel problem. But also, I just sit there and I go, did you not watch the movie that I watched? Because here's what I have a problem with. There's a lot of people who go into movies and they're not paying attention. Yes, there are many movies nowadays that, you know what, you can just go into flippantly and you can just go, you're having fun, you're talking with the person next to you, maybe you're eating your popcorn, you're drinking your
shutting
pop.
them up because I want to pay attention.
Yeah, I know. You know, you're doing all those things. This was a movie that you have to pay attention to. Okay? So you can't just be sidetracked or maybe be thinking of, you know, like, did I leave the oven on or something like that. You have to pay attention because all the reasons for Batman wanting to fight Superman, I mean, and we're not going to get into all the spoilerific reasons, but you can tell probably from the trailers, obviously Batman has a problem with Superman because of the events of Man of Steel. He's angry about that because people that he loved and care about died and things happen and he does not trust Superman. So I ask you this question. How is that different from things we've seen in the comics? Batman fans, please tell me how that's different. Every Batman fan that I get into a friendly thing about, you know, ooh, who would win, Batman versus Superman, right, in real life, they always say, well, Batman always has a contingency plan. And he does for everybody in the Justice League. And why? Because he doesn't trust anybody.
And also in the movie, in the preview, Superman actually says, stay down. If I wanted you dead, it would have happened already. And they had that in the previews, and I thought that was a great way to show, look, I'm pretty much a god. I have powers that you don't. I have all this stuff. Yep. Yes, you have technology and all the things that you've come up with, but he was like taking it easy on him.
Yeah, well, and we don't want to get into what happened in the actual fight and if you could say who won or who didn't win. We'll do that in our actual spoiler one. But as far as that whole notion of, like, I don't understand why Batman's fighting Superman. It's not a thin premise for Batman to look at Superman and say, you know what? All this destruction happened in the Battle of Metropolis. He was there. He watched it happen. And
he was saving people.
He says it right in the trailer, ladies and gentlemen, when he's talking to Alfred. And he says, if there's a 1% chance that he is our enemy, I have to take him out. Mm-hmm. That's his motivation.
And it shows his passion.
There it is. Now, Lex Luthor. Okay? People say, well, I don't understand Lex Luthor's motivation. Well, obviously,
you laid it out.
If you watch this movie, Lex says many things. There are many little Easter eggs, okay, is what they're called, that Lex alludes to. Now, if you didn't understand those, or maybe you say, well, I don't know the whole background of Batman versus Superman or DC Comics, so, how do they expect me to understand that?
They dumbed it down.
Well, let me explain something to you, okay? I'm not a Marvel fanboy. I'm a DC guy all the way. I grew up with Super Friends, Superman, Batman, the Super Friends Hour, okay? I grew up with Zan and Jana, the Wonder Twins, okay? I grew up with the other two kids and their little dog, okay? I grew up, with all of that because that's the fan I was. Sure, I liked Spider-Man a little bit and Incredible Hulk. I knew who he was, but I was never a big Captain America fan. I was never a big Marvel fan and didn't really care about the universe as a whole. But you know what? I've gone to the Marvel movies, and they didn't explain everything or lay everything out for me. I don't know everything about Thanos. All I know about Thanos is when they show him at the end of the movies. Okay? And you know what? I'm sorry. I know a little bit from watching my kids' little cartoon where they had the little kids version of the superheroes and stuff. And I know that Thanos has the glove, the Infinity Gauntlet glove for the stones. That's all I know. I don't know what his motivations are. I don't know who his kids are.
But that doesn't take away from the movie.
But that doesn't take away from me because you know what? Those things that I didn't understand, I came home and I got on the internet and I was like, hey, what does this mean? And then I talked to other friends who were Marvel fans and they told me. So, the thing is, if you didn't understand all the stuff that was going on, just ask a question. Don't come home saying, well, the movie sucks. Okay, I'll be honest with you right now. When Guardians of the Galaxy was first announced, and she'll let you know because she gives me a hard time about it to this day. When Garlic of the Galaxy,
That sounds
Garlic
like
of
it's the vampire version.
Woo! Brush your teeth. No, when Guardians of the Galaxy was first announced, I remember watching that trailer and I looked at her and I said, "Man, that's going to be Marvel's first bomb right there." Because I mean, come on, it had a cartoon raccoon in it, you know,
Rocket was awesome,
and a cartoon tree, you know, that's alive. I didn't know anything about Guardians of the Galaxy. I had never read a comic book about Guardians. And you know what? I went anyways because it was a Marvel movie and I knew that it was going to somehow fit into the bigger scope of things. And I absolutely love Guardians of the Galaxy. I haven't even gone back and read any of the comics or any of those things. Just what I know.
I understood it.
But I get it because I paid attention. Okay? I wasn't fooling around with somebody else. I was paying attention to the movie and I loved it. And I ate my words right then because I came out of that having to say it was a great movie. I enjoyed it. I just feel like these DC movies are not being given a chance because there's people who are biased against the directors or there's people who are biased against actors in the movie. And so people just go in with this thing like kind of hoping that it sucks. It's almost like a
wanting to see it fail.
Yeah, you know, it's like they say, well, no, I didn't want to see it fail. I wanted to see it be so good, and it was horrible. But it's almost like there's some enjoyment attached to that to be able to say, oh, Batman versus Superman was awful. And I just honestly don't understand it because here's the deal. Lex Luthor, his motivations are clearly spelled out. One, he's always been jealous of Superman, and that came through
in the comics and everything dating back to the first time.
Exactly, and you could see that when he has his dialogue with Superman about being a god, and we're not going to get into all that, but being a god and having all these powers,
it shows his anger
and all those
and
things.
Jealousy and.
But let me tell you something, and I'm just gonna put this out there to you. In the same way that Thanos is in the background of these Marvel movies, and he's kind of orchestrating things and putting things together. We'll talk more about this in the spoiler review. Don't think that there isn't somebody that's pulling those strings, that's giving Lex Luthor the information that he has. Yeah. There was even an Easter egg in there that I didn't catch, okay? But you know what? I started talking to people who did know about it. When they told me, I went,
that
oh my
makes more
goodness,
sense.
it was right there, and I totally missed that at the end, okay? So, you know, I'm just saying, the motivation for these characters is out there. It's right there if you want to know about it. So please don't complain about the motivation of the characters or the story or any of that because it makes sense. I liked the way that they got Batman and Superman together at the end, you know, for it. And I'm sorry if you think that's a spoiler, but it's Batman and Superman. Did you think that they were going to fight
Wonder
forever?
Woman was helping them.
You know, and I've heard people complain about the fight scene, that it wasn't enough, that this is supposed to be Batman versus Superman. Well, let me tell you. If you watch the movie, you saw that between Clark and Bruce and Batman and Superman, there was an ongoing battle, both mentally, emotionally, and then physically. Okay, now I'm not saying that this movie is perfect. Yes, some of the editing, it felt kind of jostled around. You're in the middle of one scene and all of a sudden, oh, we're over here and we're doing something else. And I get that, okay? So yeah, I'll give it that. It could have been edited maybe a little better. Now, what were the things about the movie that you didn't like?
One of the things that I didn't like was just a personal thing, and I know you said that you felt the same way. When I see Wonder Woman, and I'm a woman, so I like the superhero chicks and the girl empowerment, but I didn't like that she had an accent, because Wonder Woman had an American accent. Plus, she was also an Amazonian, which means she's supposed to be taller. That I can forgive because she looked phenomenal in the costume. So that was just a small thing that doesn't make or break the movie for me.
Yeah, I gotta agree. The accent that Wonder Woman had, that Gal Gadot had, it doesn't bother me that she had an accent in general. But I wish that if she had to have an accent, why not make it the accent from the area that she's supposed to be from, right? She's supposed to be part of kind of Greek mythology, you know, and all that kind of thing. So if that's the case, why didn't she have that kind of accent? The accent that Gal Gadot used was more of her own native Israeli accent. And so that I did have a problem with. It's funny because there are people who say, well, they loved the first part of the movie but didn't like the action sequences at the end. The action sequences to me at the end
made it awesome.
Stellar. This movie looks great. The sound was
good.
It was amazing sound. And I've always been. I'll say this about Doomsday. When I found out that Doomsday was in the movie, I was disappointed. Okay, because me as a Superman fan, remember, I would not have wanted Doomsday in this movie. If you asked me, Enosh, do you want Doomsday in this movie? Nope. Because to me, it would have been better to save Doomsday for a solo Superman movie, and maybe lead that into a Justice League movie where the whole Justice League had to fight Doomsday.
To show a need for the Justice League to fight something.
And I understand that that's kind of what this set up, but it didn't set it up in the way that I thought it was going to be, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And so, but if we have to have Doomsday in a movie, I thought Doomsday was done well. I didn't think it looked as cheesy as it did in that first trailer.
Yeah,
that he kind of looked like a Ninja Turtle. He looked better in the movie than I expected. And I'll be honest with you, and this is all I'll say about this until our spoiler review. I was very surprised that they went where they went with this movie and the way that this movie ended. That's all I'll say about that until next time. But I was very content with it. I felt like...
So much so that we want to see it again.
Yes, I felt like the story came full circle in it. And now I'm looking forward to seeing it again. Now, one other thing that I want to address, just to get it out of the way, Batman and guns and killing. I'm going to put a link down in the description of this video that you can follow, that you can go watch a video that shows just in the Batman movies that we have, from the first Tim Burton movie through, yes, even the Dark Knight trilogy, how many times Batman has killed people. It even goes back and shows back during Adam West Batman time that people died at the hands of Batman. Now, I'm not saying that he kills all the time, but he does.
But if the need arises.
And Batman didn't kill all the time in this movie, but when the need arose, he took care of business. And this whole thing about Batman and guns, I have never seen so many people say, I'm a huge Batman fan and Batman does not kill and he does not use guns. Please, just hop on the internet. It's all you got to do. It takes 2 seconds. Go to google.com and type in Batman with gun or with a gun.
You'll be pleasantly surprised.
You may not be pleasantly surprised, but you will be surprised.
I was amused.
Yes, because it has been known that Batman has carried guns before, okay? I mean, there's all kinds of pictures there. There's pictures from when he first got started, yes, in the 1930s and 40s, but then also there's modern pictures of Batman with guns. And I mean, my goodness, people, he's got guns on the Batmobile. He's got and that goes all the way back to Tim Burton's Batmobile, where the machine guns came up out of the top.
Okay. Gatling
you
gun.
don't put guns on a car unless you mean to use them, and he did use them. Not only that, but just other things. Just go and do that for me, please. And then, you know what? Then I would love to hear your comments. What did you think of the movie? I thought it was great. Tiffanie, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this movie?
I honestly would give it a 10. Just because it had everything. It had what I wanted from Superman. I loved even the fact to see Henry Cavill dressed as Clark Kent with the glasses, and it was just like the nerd girl in me was like excited that they brought out everything that I wanted. I love that it was a continuation of the first one, and it's just all the little things that added up to just make it so exciting that I want to see it again and again, that I can't wait to own it and see where they go from here.
Personally, I'm not going to say it was a perfect movie, okay? And because of a couple choices that they made.
My 10 is in excitement.
Yes. I'm going to give it, actually, though, I'm going to give it a 9. Because I felt that it met what I needed out of a Batman versus Superman movie. Now, what we're going to do here for you at the end of this video is a little different. Because everybody's, I've shared with you some of the complaints that I've heard. Maybe they're your complaints, okay? Maybe they are what you thought. But we took our 3 boys to see this movie as well. And in talking with them, just asking them, hey, what did you think about the movie? They started telling us what they thought about the movie and how they liked it and what they thought. So we're going to share with you their views right here at the end, okay? But we would love to hear from you what you think. Maybe you're watching this video and you're like, Enosh, Tiffanie, you guys are full of crap. This movie was awful. It sucks. It shouldn't even be on a screen. Zack Snyder should not direct Justice League. They've ruined Batman. They've ruined Superman. If that's
And
what you think.
sir, do not know comics.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, you know what? One thing I did want to say, because I started to say it and I didn't. Lex Luthor. I thought that I was going to hate Jesse Eisenberg. I really did.
Wanted to.
I wanted to hate Jesse Eisenberg. But let me tell you something. Jesse Eisenberg was great in that role. He was not the person that I would have picked for it.
No.
Not by a long shot, okay? But what he did, he won me over. He won me over as Lex Luthor. And I saw Lex Luthor in him. What I did not see in the trailers, because I did not see Lex Luthor in those trailers at all. But what I saw in him in this movie, he turned a corner. Okay? At a certain point, he turned a corner and he became Lex Luthor. And just the things that he said and just the diabolical way that he did things, man, he was
Made your
great.
skin crawl.
So if you disagree with us, that's fine. Let us know in the comment section how you feel about it, okay? Give us your best. Come on. Bring it on. Bring it on. Give us. It'll be Enosh and Tiffanie versus the internet. I don't care. Come on. Let's do it. All right. If you enjoyed this movie and you're one of those people, and I've heard a lot of you in the last day or so who said, you know, I actually went to the movie thinking it was going to suck because everybody said it was, and I really liked it. And I didn't see anything wrong with it. If that's you, hey, leave your support down in the comments section, okay? Let us know that you liked it. That there are other people out there who are not crazy and actually paid attention. Okay? So that is our review. I give it a 9. She gives it a 10. That is our non-spoiler review. Coming up right now is our kids kind of condensed review, what they thought of the movie, just a little deal. And we thank you guys for watching. Thanks so much. Hey, if you like the channel, if you like what you see here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you can always know when we're going to come out with more of these, because we're about to do quite a few of these. There's a few movies that we've seen that even
we taped, but we never got a chance to show.
Yeah, we just never got a chance to show those, and so we are going to share those, even though a couple of those films are already out of the theater. We're still going to share with you our reviews. So look forward to more reviews coming from us, and we just thank you for watching. All right, thank you so much for your support. We appreciate it. I am Enosh, aka Enosh Fett.
I am Tiffanie, aka Grand Tiff Tarkin.
And we will see you next time on Spoiled. All right, so what we have here is a sampling of 3 young people who have recently seen Batman vs. Superman. They would like to tell you their opinions of the movie. First of all, we have...
I'm Logan and I'm 10.
Logan, did you like Batman vs. Superman?
Yes.
If you had to put it in one word, what would you say it is?
Awesome.
Awesome. Okay. And what was your favorite part of Batman vs. Superman?
The fighting scenes.
The fighting scenes. All right, here in the middle we have...
Isaac, and I'm 13.
All right, Isaac, did you like Batman vs. Superman?
Yeah.
If you had to put it in one word, what would you call it?
Amazing.
Amazing. And what was your favorite part of Batman vs. Superman?
How it set up the Justice League movie.
Okay. And over here on the right, of course, we have...
Landon and I'm 11.
All right, Landon, did you enjoy Batman vs. Superman?
Duh.
And what was your favorite part of the movie?
My favorite part of the movie was the fighting scenes.
Yeah, the fighting
Yeah.
scenes? Okay. So now, did you guys, when you went and saw Batman vs. Superman, did you have any problem understanding the story at all?
No.
No.
No? Did you at any point feel confused as to why the characters were fighting?
No.
No.
Why do you even ask that question?
So you understood why Lex Luthor was fighting Superman?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you understood why Batman was mad at Superman?
Yes.
And did you think that it was cheesy that Batman and Superman were able to make up?
No.
No? Did you like Wonder Woman in the movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're boys, and you even liked Wonder Woman in this movie.
Yes.
Okay. What would you say to adults that said they didn't understand the story or why things happened in the movie?
They're crazy.
They would have to read the comics done. Like the Batman vs Superman comics, The Dark Knight Returns.
They're bizarro.
They're bizarro. Okay. And so overall, we can say that you guys really enjoyed Batman versus Superman.
Yes.
Would you recommend Batman versus Superman to your friends?
Yes. Everybody.
So you would tell everybody watching this review on YouTube that Batman versus Superman, I'm just saying what you said. You said it was an awesome movie. You said it was amazing. And what did you say again? You said, duh. Okay. That you liked the movie.
Yeah.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. A sampling of 3 young people who all agree Batman versus Superman was a great movie.